There is a connection between the paranormal, UFOs, and the myths of ancient history. The clues are scattered across the landscape from a forbidden past, maybe even in your own backyard. There is a connection between the true nature of our reality, consciousness, and the unexplained. I'm Carl the Crusher. Let's explore the unknown. Hey guys, Carl Crusher here. I just wanted to hop online because I was recently filmed and part of a documentary that was filmed by the Vetted podcast by Patrick. So he had me on his podcast and we talked about psionics, we talked about consciousness, the theory of reality, UFOs, ancient petroglyph sites, and my experiences with Beyond Skinwalker Ranch and up and around Skinwalker Ranch and a lot of different things. And at the end of that podcast, Patrick asked if he could come out to my area and see some of the locations that I research and experiment with psionics and see if he could have an actual genuine experience. So he's like, "Can you take me to a spot that's real?" And so I said, "Sure, come on out." So him and Gino from the Y-Files came out and they got an Airbnb nearby. And I told him I was going to take him to some of my favorite spots. And we ended up just going primarily to one spot over and over. The first spot we tried to go to, the road was closed and blocked off. So we ended up going to a different spot. Now, I don't want to give away too much because he did film an entire documentary the whole time that we were together. And I am releasing my footage. I've already released episode 1 on this YouTube channel. And episode 2 is going to be coming out later. I just finished the editing for that today. And some really interesting stuff happened up around the shaman seat and the petroglyph boulder with some glitches with our technology and some weird coincidences that occurred. But we'll let all of that come out later. But basically, what happened was during the filming of that documentary with Patrick, we were down at the bottom of the valley of the Anasazi Trail, and we were looking for the ghost lights on the Magic Mesa that appear when you do psionics and meditation. And we did see some of that, even though my night vision camera was completely not working. It would not accept any of my SD cards, and it wasn't functioning properly. So anyway, we were doing psionics, we were meditating, we were trying to summon UFOs, just like the Skywatcher team. And then Patrick asked me, how exactly is Skywatcher going to summon and like capture a UFO? And then I said some things on camera and part of that documentary that I was under the assumption was going to be released a year from now, in 2026, maybe in the summer or the fall. But what I said in the documentary footage was kind of chewing at Patrick, so he decided to go ahead and take the clip of what I said and release it. And that's because recently the head of Skywatcher recently announced that he is leaving the team because he accepted like a government contract job, and that created a whole lot of confusion. And then there was like a Reddit post that came out claiming that Skywatcher was all dismantled and didn't exist anymore. There's a bunch of rumors flying around. So Patrick decided to release this clip of me talking as a preview to his documentary that's going to be coming out. So check this out.
We just start talking about Skywatcher. I start asking about Skywatcher, and what he reveals is astounding. Okay, he's basically, Carl, on the record here on camera, knows I'm filming for the documentary, right? He says that from his sources, someone he knows on Skywatcher, basically this Skywatcher has already landed a craft with NASA present. Okay, and there's way more to this. That's why this is a 12-minute unedited clip, so you can just hear it all, because we talk a lot more about Skywatcher, all this stuff. So, I just thought, well, James Fowler had come out recently, who was the guy behind all their technology at Skywatcher, and he has since left Skywatcher, and they're kind of taking this new approach or what. Honestly, I don't think a lot of people know what's going on. They basically said they're going to be analyzing data. Is this why they stopped filming? Is this why they've just now moved into the data? Because they have landed a crab. That's according to Carl Crusher. So let's get into this clip. Again, just a little backstory. There's no light in the image, very, very little bit of light. Okay, so this is what it looked like before I had to turn the lights off. Right here, you can see we're just sitting in the back of a pickup truck, me, Gino, and Carl. But I had to turn the lights off because Carl was like, look, you can't have both ways. You can film us or the sky, whatever. So, but I did have other features, other cameras to get stuff. Again, it's just not editing it all together. I'm just showing you this one particular angle that I had the audio on. Okay, so you can't really see anything, but you can hear everything perfectly. So again, Carl Crusher, Gino from the Y-Files, and myself talking about Skywatcher, but really Carl does all the talking here. I do ask some questions and push on it, and I just find this clip absolutely fascinating. And again, I don't know, again, none of the footage is all put together, and this isn't generally what my documentary is about, which is why I'm okay to release this clip early. And I don't think the documentary is going to come out till next year, but I just thought this should go out. Right? I thought everyone deserved to know this, and maybe Skywatcher will comment, and we'll see if this is true or not. Right? So again, without further ado, I've been blabbing enough. Let's get to this clip of Skywatcher.
But I have a lot of this that I've caught on night vision that I can send you as examples.
Now, how is Skywatcher going to catch something that they summon with psionics?
They have already.
They've already captured something?
I know for a fact that, people from NASA and the military have already been there with them, and they've had a landing.
Holy shit.
Now, don't they say there's certain different styles of craft? Did they say 7?
Yeah, but some of them could be the same that appear different ways, like the difference between a tetra and a manta ray are like hard to tell other than the way that they move, and they could be the same thing, just move in different ways,
What are the other ones that they...
the tetra, the jellyfish, the tic tac, the manta ray, one that they literally call the blob, or I think they call it the blob.
The classes of UAP, right?
Yeah. And then there's like
Is there a blob?
saucer and an orb, I think, are the other ones. It might not be blob. It might be it's like a brain looking one.
Is that not the jellyfish one?
I know, but then there's another one that is, I think
right.
that it is called the blob.
You might be right, actually, yeah.
And it's like a jellyfish.
So what kind
but
did they catch?
I don't know.
It landed and they caught it.
There
like
was,
they were able to load it
I don't
up
know if
and-
they caught it, but I know that there was a landing and that
A
there was
landing.
people from NASA there.
Fucking A.
And that they knew that it was going to happen. The psionic team predicted it a day ahead of time.
That they would
That
do
that
this.
would happen.
But
That's
it
how
only
NASA.
landed, so maybe they didn't capture it per se, but it landed
I
and
wasn't
they saw
told
that.
all the details.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
This is your
Yeah.
friend from Skywatcher, I would assume. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
Was
a
he
plane
part of
over
the
here?
squad that
There's a plane?
I can't say. Yeah,
There's a plane right here? Right behind it.
I can't see?
I honestly don't know if he was there when that one happened or not, or if he just heard about it and then joined him later or what. But that's what I've been told. Yeah. That there was basically a landing, that there was
So
people
what's
from the government.
So what's the point of Skywatcher then? Like, what are they? What do you think?
Well,
what
see,
the
they were
point is?
there. They were one of the teams that was called when the weird New Jersey drones were going on.
Yeah.
So they were called, and even Gary Nolan and my
And-
friend
and
Jim Segala were
This
all
is
called.
before Jake Barber came out.
Yeah. So all incidents like that, like weird drones show up over facilities and they don't know what they are.
So how long has
Something
so
crashes.
Skywatcher's been operating behind the scenes already for a while?
Yeah, but now as they are organized together with their new management and the way that they operate as
Yeah.
like a new entity, but yeah, they were different parts of the group have been doing this and stuff
Yeah.
for probably like 5 years, about the same amount of time I've been
Yeah.
kind of doing it independently.
It's like
in a
Mother
way.
Love Bone and then before Pearl Jam.
Yeah, but see, like Jacob Barber's whole story where they went and caught the egg.
Yeah.
He was just the helicopter pilot and everything, and had a whole
Yeah.
psychic experience with the egg or whatever,
Yeah.
or with the egg gone. But he found out that there was a psionic team there at the same night, but they were just compartmentalized, so he never even knew there was psychic assets involved. He was just given a job, go pick up the package with the helicopter and leave, and he looked down and sees what it is, and then they piece it all together later. But now people that were the psychics on the team summoning the egg, they've all met, and now they're able to corroborate their stories together, like they were both on the same jobs and stuff.
So the egg that Jake Barber picked up was brought down by psionics.
Right. By a team of psionics, yeah,
Team of psionics,
that he
yeah.
never met,
Yeah.
but has allegedly talked to since then to be able to confirm that, yeah, they were working that same job. You see that
And-
one going up? That could be a plane for coming out of Vegas, but the way it's blinking,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so he basically took that same idea and created Skywatcher. He just mimicked it.
Yeah,
Right.
but see, this whole idea of like, yeah, using the psionics, all of that came out of the government and out of Hal Puthoff and the remote viewing program, and they've been doing this since the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Like those pictures of Bigelow and his team in Nevada, like how. What was
Rooster?
I heard that.
what was that?
I don't know.
That was no rooster.
It sounded like an animal.
That is a rooster.
That's a rooster.
What the heck?
That's what it is.
That didn't sound like a rooster at first. It sounded like screaming.
It didn't sound like a rooster. Yeah, I can't see.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's interesting about Skywatcher. Like,
So,
so
yeah,
okay,
they've
so
done
yeah,
different
so what's
stuff,
the
yeah.
point then? What's their objective like moving forward?
To
Like,
do it publicly, like to be able to actually do it in a way where they can provide disclosure and do it like actually put the footage out and prove that it's real, because every time that these guys individually have experienced it, they've all been under government contracts, and NDAs. There's lights. The campfire light just went off again.
fuck.
I mean, it was fast. It just like turned on and off. Like a wave went up and down the mountain there. Man, that one was bright too. It was literally like a wave of yellow light went woof up the side of the mountain. But yeah, their whole point is they're trying to do the same thing we are, and they're actually talking as a team instead of like normally Jacob Barber's in the helicopter and he doesn't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
there to pick up a package and he's not allowed to talk.
Compartmentalized.
Yeah, but now they're all talking and they're all filming it and they're trying to
But who was doing it before?
release it. Well, like
Who was Jake Barber working with before?
I don't know. I think probably with Northrop Grumman is what I heard.
And he's still working with them, right?
I think so. Well, I think he's. I'm not sure. It's either Lockheed or Northrop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda,
Okay, so
yeah.
just the idea is to just.
Do what we're doing with.
But if it's already, if they can do it, what takes so long? What? I don't get it.
I think they already have a lot. I think they're still just like
Think they have footage of this landing?
how many episodes have they come out with?
2.
2. Episode 3 is
Maybe
where they
3.
start introducing the. I think the next episode they're starting to have the psionic assets introduce themselves and talk. They're still bogged down in the whole editing process of like just releasing the story of who they are as a team.
Got it.
But they have shit.
And switching players, right?
I guarantee you they filmed all of it. Yeah. They filmed it all on their devices and their radar and they had private funders, people come out there, and so they have like they got whole shitloads of expensive equipment, and the whole dog whistle thing is like a whole truck with radar stuff on it and sound transmitters and everything, speakers,
And what is the dog whistle essentially? What's the tech?
it's literally a frequency transmitter, like transmitting different spectrums, like ultra low or different gigahertz of sound waves, and then overlapping them and just using it like you would do bird calls, but they're just doing sound,
I see.
just ultra low sound frequencies. There's the light. Man, it keeps going over there on the right side.
That's interesting.
Man, it just turned on and off again.
I do see a light.
It's kind of glowing a little bit.
Is that a
there?
car light? I saw it down the road, I think.
There's no road over there, bro.
Oh.
There's only an ancient wall and literally
Like it's down the road over
no,
there.
dude,
Like, there's no road.
all there is
over
right there is
dude.
Indian burials, man. That's why it's weird.
Okay.
There's no light sources right there. Okay, so obviously that's a big claim. I said that I knew for a fact that I knew that craft was called down. I said in that video that it landed. They pressed me and asked if they captured it, and that's getting thrown around a lot. I never actually said that they captured a UAP, but I'm still sitting here and I'm confident, and I'm saying that it is my perspective, and it's still a fact to me that the Skywatcher team, the reason that you guys are seeing the things that are going on with Skywatcher is because they were successful. It's not because they failed or there's like infighting or there's any kind of problems with the group. I think it's an elite team of specialists, and I think that they had success with summoning a UAP, and that there was an official there from NASA. And when I came out with that, or when Patrick released that on his YouTube channel as a preview to his documentary, there was a whole bunch of drama that kicked off all over Twitter. A ton of people calling me a liar, a ton of people saying, "Oh, well, I bet that NASA official is just some old senile person that they drag out so that they can just get some testimonial and say it was from NASA." Oh, and then is it like, does he actually work for NASA, or does the guy just like work for NASA and then he showed up just on his own accord, or was he there in behalf of NASA? Like, what's the whole story? And so all this criticism, all these questions came out. Fair enough. So I went back on the podcast with Patrick, and I took a bunch of questions, and I was on there for like an hour. So if you want to watch that entire interview where I answer everybody's questions live on YouTube, click the link down below and go over to the Vetted podcast and watch the full interview over there. But what I want to do right now is just show you a couple of highlights and things that I said as updates, and I'll trim a bunch of stuff out, just give you like maybe 5 to 10 minutes of the best moments and things that we talked about. And then definitely, if you're interested, go over to the Vetted podcast and watch the full interview, and then stick around for the end because Patrick had some more updates. And then I also have some updates at the end also. So here you go. Check this out. Now, I will say this, and I should clarify that, like in that clip, I say, oh, there was a landing. But when I say, I should clarify, you know, calling one down doesn't necessarily mean that it was captured. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that there was an something where they went up and like had like an entire thing where there was a crash or a recovery or anything. But I mean, you can look. I don't know if has Jacob Barber deleted his X account yet? Is Jake Barber's
Didn't think so.
Twitter account?
Is that going to
Yeah, I mean,
happen?
he has a picture on there uh with him with a person from NASA obviously out there.
Let's see if I can find that.
the one thing that I think about, and maybe Carl, maybe you have a bit of information on this, is like obviously this has been their mission since day one. They said they want to bring down a craft and whatever, and that they can. But like, what is the point in that? Like, if this is some kind of craft or whatever it is, what are they doing? But like, because that to look at it in a human lens, like, is that theft? Are we stealing someone else's craft? Like, what is it? What is actually happening?
Yeah, that's where it gets confusing because the different intentions, depending on who's there or the motives of what's going on, you know, the great majority of a particular group on the team, their intentions just could be to exchange wisdom or to expand humanity and to progress disclosure, just like, all of our intentions are and what we would like to see happen. But that doesn't mean when the rubber meets the road and something real occurs and all of a sudden there's something to be made off of it or there's an advantage to be had that there isn't other elements that can move in and take over situations. I've had similar things happen where as soon as when I was working at the location over in Nevada, um, as soon as we got down to where we were communicating with something underground and receiving transmissions back that seemed to be some form of communication, all of a sudden all these people that were not on the original team showed up and the project sort of gets hijacked. It gets sort of taken over in different ways. I'm not saying that that happened with Skywatcher. I look at Skywatcher and the caliber of the people on that team, and I see the odds of them achieving successful results with the right people there was just probably really high. But I can't say whether or not everybody had to suddenly sign NDAs about everything that they did or just one incident or
Well,
about a decision that they made going forward.
yeah.
And again, I can't say that there was like a landing or a capture or anything like that, but obviously, along with developing the psionic aspect of things, there's the whole technology aspect of the dog whistle that was being developed as that was proprietary, that was like secret information of how they were doing that. So
Yeah.
if you imagine the right people being there at the right time, then hypothetically, you wouldn't actually have to be 100% successful with a landing and a capture and contact. You would just have to get really close with the right people there witnessing it to where they're convinced enough, and then what you've done is close enough that other people decide they want to take it to the finish line.
I mean, when Jake Barber came out on News Nation, the whole egg retrieval video was like the big story. But I think for me, the big takeaway was actually the psionic aspect. Like that's when that word sort of really broke into the main narrative. And like what you just said, Carl, 3 years ago they wouldn't even talk about it. I'm curious to know what you got both of you think. Like, do you think that there has perhaps been a slow strategic rollout plan of all of this information about just disclosure as a whole, and psionics is probably one aspect of that? Do you think maybe from like 2017 there's been like a 10-year rollout plan to just slowly begin to get people adjusted to a whole new paradigm and way of thinking? And now we're just up to psionics and just getting beyond that?
I think it's
Well,
been
for
really
me,
hard for the people inside the programs to even talk to each other until recently. And so they've been people involved in different aspects of it, whether it be the remote viewing or the psionic side of it, but they haven't been able to talk to the helicopter pilot and they haven't been able to talk to the other
Mm,
guy over here. And now, because of the internet and all the different ways that they have to talk and meet up, they're connecting the dots, from a distance and then finding ways to meet each other and all the puzzle pieces are coming together for even the guys inside the programs, 'cause it's just like it's not like they're all going out as a unified team. I think Skywatcher coming forward is the first, like, public attempt to try to do that, but even Jake Barber said that when he was a helicopter pilot to go do retrievals, he never was working on the ground or knew any of the psionic people. He just found out that they were involved later. He met some of those guys later on and was like, "Oh, that's what we were doing." And so some of this is all in hindsight for even them. And then we're even more hindsight because we're trying to see what they're figuring out and try to figure out what's real and what's not, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So so you obviously know like Jake Barber or a lot of the Skywatcher team, Carl?
I know, I know a few of the members of Skywatcher, and I've personally worked in the past uh, with a couple specifically, but I'd rather not ask too many, answer too many questions about that just because people will dig and dig and dig through everything I've ever done to find something. And
That
yeah,
yeah,
my sources and friends are really important to me there.
Sure.
for sure. I think you'll be okay with this question. I feel like a lot of people are probably thinking this as well. Why do you think like Skywatcher are able to do this sort of like unimpeded?
Well, only up to a certain point, obviously, and
Mm.
then it can't. They didn't. They were impeded apparently.
Yeah, you did bring up this dog whistle, which so many people um have been interested in. Yeah, is there I don't know what more you could say than
I
this,
don't
right?
know. I don't know exactly what it's made of. My understanding was that it is all mounted on a vehicle, like
Yeah.
a one that's mobile that they can move
Which
around.
you see it in the videos. You
Yeah,
can
I
see
think it's
the vehicle in the
that
Skywatcher
UTV
video.
that's like painted tan, desert
Yeah.
camo or whatever,
It's
and
got
it's
all the
got
shit
all
on
that.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I mean, if you could
Yeah.
analyze what that is, to me, it's it's probably a bunch of, radar, sky watching and scanning equipment to detect things, but ultimately a really expensive frequency modulator that allows you to directionally point at certain places, at a high level. Like the most that you and I could do is get like a portable speaker or big sound system and try to use apps and fake it. But there is, like uh almost stuff that you would use for non-lethal weapon systems that you could use as a frequency modulator, and basically you turn that down to some ultra low frequency wavelength that travels through the earth and uh, play with those frequencies at a certain level. But really, I mean, everybody does get hung up on the dog whistle, especially I would say, government interest and financiers and people that want some kind of a piece of technology they can own or patent. But
Sure.
in my opinion, all of that stuff is predicated and doesn't work as much as the psionic team. Like the group of telepaths they're all predicting and saying when to turn the dog whistle on and off and all that. So to me, that's all secondary. Like they're going to be saying, yeah, okay, turn it on, do this, do that. And a lot of, I think the way it really runs, you realize that intuition from the psionic assets is really the wind in the sails of what's going on there. And the dog whistle is more just like uh, yeah, just like a direct form of a contact or communication that's tangible. And it also, um, I personally think it also helps gel the consciousness of the team together. When you actually turn a device on like that, it sort of inadvertently has an effect on the team where you suddenly expect a result. Or if there's anybody doubting what's going to happen, that kind of could go away. And then the results show up, So I think there's layers of reasons why it works. But
You, you kind of sounds like what you're saying there is almost that like the dog whistle in itself kind of creates not necessarily a placebo effect, but like it kind of influences the belief of the team. And is that what you're kind of getting at? That like once the team have this like perhaps placebo effect of belief, that like that belief
I think it
creates the manifestation?
I think it personally I believe that it cultures the right atmosphere and environment on levels we might not even understand, almost cymatic vibrational levels of the brain and things that, yeah, has an opening up
Wow.
effect.
So
Yeah.
so you're saying that this dog whistle, because I guess when it's spoken about to us, it's we literally, well, I think most of us think of it like an actual dog whistle, like you play the sound and it makes the thing react. But what you're saying is that this frequency actually affects the human mind as well, and you think the effect that it's having on the human mind, that has an effect on the summoning or manifestation.
Yeah, and again, I don't think that what's in the UAP or the UFO that hears the dog whistle is like some antenna or piece of technology that picks up on the signal. Again, I believe it's an amplification effect even for the consciousness of the UFO or the UAP or the occupants.
Oh, I
So
mean, that
it,
is so
Interesting.
different, right? Yeah, that's interesting because that's so different because, yeah, I think it's a lot of people thought it's what Josh is saying. And I'm not saying you're saying that's what it
it's
is,
too
Carl.
mechanical. I get it. You
Yeah,
think of like
yeah,
you're going to blow a whistle just like your bird calling, and then
yeah,
something up there with an eardrum is going to hear you. But we're talking about telepathy and tools to amplify telepathy. We're talking about craft and
so the
technology
dog whistle
to
is really
operate
for
with
the
telepathy.
psionic assets, right? The
Yeah,
dog whistle is
and
really for the
and
psionic
the
assets,
UFOs
not.
are psionic. Like that's what we
It's
got to
Yeah,
remember.
interesting.
It's not like a fighter pilot up in there. The whole UFO, the UAP experience is all psionic. Yeah, the
yeah,
dog whistle fundamentally underneath it is affecting the consciousness of the pilot of the craft as much as it is the team on the ground. Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
sure.
It's so
It's got to
interesting
be
when you
both. It's
consider
both. Yeah.
It's both. Okay, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah, it helps the
that
psionic assets get in a better mindset, and particularly, yeah, just a better mindset, better environment to be able to do what they do, amplify what they do, but it also goes out to the object itself.
Yeah. It's the same kind of thing that you would, the same kind of attempt that you would have if you were a monk in a Buddhist temple and you're ringing a gong and everybody's chanting in unison. Is same kind of an effect. We're just talking about instead of using ancient shamanistic methods, we've got technology going on. So now we've got like techno shamans or psionics instead of using these ancient shamanistic methods. This we're got technology and it's like a gun on a truck. you know it
Yeah.
it's
sounds
just like
weird, but that's just where
exactly
we're
what
at.
the gateway tapes are,
Yeah,
don't you
yeah,
think?
it's
It's the
no
gateway tapes. It's frequencies in the mind that help you project your consciousness. It's like the same
pointed
thing.
Yeah.
pointed
Yeah.
directionally right at an event that's predicted. But again, the driver of all this is the consciousness. The psionic side is,
The
yeah, I don't
consciousness.
think the dog whistle is gonna. If what happened is some contractors came and bought the dog whistle and that's why all this weird stuff's going on, they're gonna
No
have to
problem.
figure yeah, they're gonna have to figure out that the dog whistle is only like a
Part
third
of it.
of as effective without the whole rest of the team there.
And
Okay, so that gives you a good idea of where my position is. And I'll tell you right now that I still am of the mindset that I believe that they were successful, that the Skywatcher team was successful. And I'm really optimistic about the next year, about 2026. And people can criticize that, they can say whatever they want. But the people that I know and trust in and around, and the sources in and around Skywatcher, I believe that something actually happened. I believe that the psionic team and the combination of that and the dog whistle, that they actually did summon a UFO or a UAP. I don't know if it actually landed or not. I wasn't there. I haven't seen any footage or anything like that. So this is all just like secondhand witness stuff. But from my understanding and what I believe occurred, I think that it was legitimate. And I think that it got close enough that it was convincing to the NASA official that now that would explain why we're seeing a shift in changes from Skywatcher. So I'm going to show you now what I found because when I came out with this and I claimed that there was a NASA official there working with Skywatcher when this happened, I got a lot of crap for that. I got a lot of shit on X. And so did Patrick and the Vetted podcast, calling him a grifter, saying, "Oh, like he's just clickbaiting to try and get anybody on there." The amount of trolls that came out of the woodwork to try and shit on the whole story, trying to disclose this. Okay, but then this is what Patrick came out with another video, and he allegedly contacted one of his own people that he knows inside of Skywatcher, and I have no idea who this is, but this is what he had to say as an update.
I reached out to Skywatcher and I revealed on the stream last night, but I think it kind of got lost in the mix. But reached out to a member of Skywatcher and they gave me a statement. Unfortunately, I have to keep it anonymous, which breaks my rule, but you know, and initially I wasn't going to put out the statement because I had to keep it anonymous, and I just don't do that. And but I felt that I'd already started a story and I needed to finish it, so it's the only reason I'm putting out the statement that's anonymous, for that reason. Because otherwise, I would have just not said anything. Because I've gotten other statements before, and they told me you have to remain anonymous. I just said forget it. And I was going to do that with this too, but again, I'd already started something, so I felt like I needed to finish. Carl was involved. You know, it wasn't just me. So I kind of had to break my rule. And the reason they have to stay anonymous is my fault. I didn't clarify when I reached out to them that this was an on the record question. And they answered because I message with that person, not regularly, but every so often. And I've never asked them for an on the record statement. So I'm assuming they just didn't think that was the case, right? So I get it. And I didn't clarify that. And when I said, no, I'm going to release this, they're like, whoa, wait a second. And they were right. I didn't clarify there was an on the record statement, so that's my fault. Again, I'm not a journalist, so, you know, I screwed up. It's my fault, and that's why they have to remain anonymous. But again, the reason I'm putting it out is because it didn't just involve me, and I felt like I needed to finish a story that Carl had put out. So anyway, the statement is this. They kind of confirmed it. They're basically this contact from Skywatcher, who would know, okay? Deep inside Skywatcher said, I am familiar with that situation. And that's all they could say. They said, I'm sorry, I have to leave it vague. That's all I can say. But they said they're familiar with that situation. They didn't say, that's a lie, never happened. They're saying they're familiar with that situation, which kind of goes against what Gary Nolan was saying, right? He said, that would be news to me. So this other person at Skywatcher, who would know, just like Gary, said they are familiar with the situation, but Gary's saying that would be news to me. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But to me, it sounds like Skywatcher is confirming.
Okay. And now that you've seen that, take into mind that what I did was I literally just went on to Google. I just opened up Google on my phone and I typed Jacob Barber, NASA, and I clicked enter, search. Now you can do that search yourself. Jacob Barber, NASA. See what comes up. Check this out. This is what pops up, right? It says Adam Yingling. First of all, here, I'll zoom in here. So this is Jacob Barber. This is one of the helicopters that they're flying. This is allegedly on site, on location, right? And it says, new frontiers are waiting. We just need to keep looking upward and inward, right? Like in the consciousness, upward and inward. It is a pleasure to have fellow frontiersman and distinguished aeronautical expert Adam Yingling out on the range with Skywatcher. So all y'all on Twitter that were calling me a liar that there was a NASA official out there, Jacob Barber already shared that and admitted that that was the case. Now I know that that doesn't prove that he was there when a UFO was summoned. But I'm just saying I'm not full of shit. There's the evidence. There's the lead. Go chase the lead if you're actually a journalist instead of trying to criticize me like I don't know what I'm talking about. Adam Yingling, a NASA project lead at Glenn Research Center, is pushing the boundaries of aviation with his work on autonomous flight tech. So there raises other questions. Is this drone testing, or is he out there because they can't figure out what these UAP are? Are they unmanned drones? Like, what does that actually mean? But it says in 2024, he spearheaded tests integrating NASA's autonomous software into Sikorsky's Sarah and OPV helicopters, showcasing scalable automation for safer, more reliable flights. Now, I don't know what Sarah this is. There used to be a Sarah affiliated with Bob Bigelow, but I don't want to convolute the two until we know the difference. And I haven't taken the time to see what the difference is between this Sarah or the other Sarah, or if there even is a difference. But Tim Ryan, that worked with Bob Bigelow at Skinwalker Ranch, was also a technical specialist with radar patents and non-lethal weapons technology patents. And he had a company called Sarah. But it says Sarah and OPV helicopters showcasing scalable automation for safer, more reliable flights, monitored by pilots via tablets. So you're flying them with iPads, basically. Yingling's also been key in NASA's Advanced Air Mobility Project, teaming up with Sikorsky and DARPA in 2022 to accelerate flight testing for future eVTOL vehicles. His efforts are stacking technologies to transform air travel, proving NASA can hit milestones faster and cheaper than expected. Okay, so there's that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. We also have this page that I found, Adam Yingling, the Advanced Air Mobility National Campaign Integration of Automated Systems. So he's talking about like automated drone systems that can fly with AI. And here it is, flight test activity for NASA's Advanced Air Mobility Program. It's part of a national campaign. He has over 20 years aerospace experience. Department of Defense. Advanced platforms such as the Air Force's F-22 stealth fighter technology for the James Webb Space Telescope, automated algorithms for emerging market of electrical vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, like reproduction vehicle stuff almost. Like this is almost UFO reproduction vehicle stuff. Wow, advanced drone stuff. So what does this all mean? How come instead of everybody calling me liar, they're not just chasing this lead down and figuring out what happened? Let's see the story. There's the evidence, there's the lead to show that what I said in the documentary is not BS. Okay. So I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to go on here forever and talk about it. I have nothing to defend. Again, I wasn't there. I'm just saying that for me, from my perspective, I know it's a fact to me that the Skywatcher team was successful, that the things that are going on with them as an organization, I believe are all still going to come out. And I think that a lot can be explained instead of thinking, oh, well, the team is defunct, it's split apart, it's fallen apart, they lost their leadership because it wasn't working or blah, blah, blah. I am of the position that it's because they were successful, and they were successful with Adam there. And Adam, I believe, had an experience and saw things, became an experiencer there with Skywatcher. And now we're all wondering what happened to Skywatcher and what's going on. Now, I'm not going to say anything more. I could go on for another hour and talk about things that I'm aware of and make other speculative comments and talk about stuff that I also already know and plans that are coming up. But I can't talk about that stuff. It's all pending, and we'll see what happens. So the future is going to be interesting. We have to find out what all this is about. And I'm just going to say that I stand by what I've been saying this whole time. You can call me a liar if you want, but I think time will tell, and the future is going to validate and vindicate the things that I have said. I don't care that people are giving me a lot of crap about this on X. I know what I know, and I know the people that I know, and I'm confident about it. And that's all I have to say. So, anyway, I've been posting a lot of videos here over on TikTok. Obviously, been active on Twitter, on X, posting over on Instagram, and also on Patreon. We got the whole inner circle, so make sure and go follow and subscribe over there. And if you're coming to Phenomicon next week, I'll see you up there because I'm going to be there also and running around. So hopefully I bump into you, and we'll see you in the next one.